Welcome guys again to my channel, and today I'm going to teach you guys one of the is total seven important manual testing questions. So commonly whenever you are going to face a QA interview question interview, and occasionally you will face those questions. So before interview, better to do a little research and do a little brush up, so you can make your interviewer make happy. So I'm going to click the next slide. So this is the agenda that I'm going to demonstrate today. The first one is what is regression testing. Second one is what is sanity testing, and third one is what is software build. Why I put here software build? To understand sanity testing, you have to smoke testing. You have to understand what is software build. So if you have knowledge, which is really great. If you don't have, then feel free to us and brush up your knowledge again. And what is smoke testing? What is functional testing? And then what is white box testing and white black box testing? I could remember during my interview, I occasionally face what is regression testing, what is sanity testing, and what is smoke testing, what is functional testing, what is white box testing, what is black box testing. Those questions I always face. Especially, they always ask what is the difference between sanity testing and smoke testing. So if you have depth knowledge with what is sanity testing, then even what is smoke testing, that for you it will be very easy to um, demonstrate what is the difference between sanity testing and smoke testing. And I also want to mention one more thing is that those are the software testing phases when we do perform regression, sanity, smoke, functional testing in the real environment, in the real organizations when you will be working as a test engineer. So I'm going to first of all I'm going to tell what is regression testing. Into In the software testing industry, regression testing is one of the most popular and important testing phase that you have to know and you have to perform in your uh, in your in your job. So let's see what is regression testing. So first of all, regression is testing is defined as a type of software testing to confirm that recent program or code change has not adversely affected existing feature. Again, so let us make it very simple. So when developer they made some change into the existing code. Again, when developer they made some changes into the existing code, so as a test engineer, my roles and responsibilities to run regression tests to make sure that the existing code should not change. The existing code should work as expected. So again, this is the number one thing. So recent program or code change. So we need to remember recent program, recent software code, that those are the changes software developer they made for the changes that features, existing features, the previously the main functionality the way it was, it should not change. It calls regression testing. So why regression testing is very important? And then one more thing is that like this type of testing is done ensure that new code changes do not have any side effect on the existing functionalities. Very simple, very straightforward. Again, so the changes developer they made, that changes should not affect to the previous features that was before. That's all about regression testing. So I believe you already understand what is regression testing. And then I'm going to go, what is sanity testing? So before I'm going to demonstrate what is sanity testing, I would do I would highly recommend to understand what is software build. What is the scenario? Um, this is the next slide. Then I'll come back with the what is sanity testing. So let's understand what is software build. So, what is software build? If you are developing a simple computer program which consists of the only one source code, you merely need to compile or link this one file to produce an executable file. This process is very simple. Usually, this is not the case. A typically software project consists of hundreds or even thousands of source code files. Creating an executable program from this source file is a complicated and time-consuming task. So you need to use build. So that's why for the time-consuming and complicated for this we need build. So um, build software create an executable program and process is called software build. So I'm going to give you some scenario. So let's say we know we know is Facebook, right? So how the user as user Facebook use. So Facebook, let's say as a Facebook, if a Facebook user they log into the as a user they have to create the registration which is and then they have to validate their user credentials. Then they have to log in and then they can see their own profile. They will have their own profile picture. They can change a profile picture. They can send to the different person to known familiar friend. They can send a friend request. Also they can text, they can talk, they can make video call, and they can change, they can post their video, they can post their photos, all that. So my question is that let's say face society, one of the applications that we are going to develop is going to develop. So uh, it's n number of requirements. So let's say for the first release 1.1, let's say we put the name 1.1 requirements which is A and B. So what does it A and B? Let's say requirements user should have user ID and password, and the user can able to log into the system, and user should have their own dashboard. This is the first release. So this is all about requirements. So developer they are going to develop the applications, and after complete the first release, so their first build the source code they already developed. We call it the build. So as a QA test engineer, we have to understand the first when you get the build in on your hand, and then we have to validate. So every single release they are going to send, they are going to upload, they are going to push their code into the git, or they are going to give us to test. It calls build. So second release also it will add more requirements on top of first release. Third release it will add more requirements. So slowly the build is going to be very big. So first build it was really only one and B, A and B requirements. Second it will be together A, B, C, D, four requirements, and the third release it will be six requirements. So slowly it's going to bigger build, or maybe thousand of codes. So the first thing is that it calls software build. So simple code program which is consist of one source code file. So consist one source code file it calls build. So then I'm going to jump into the sanity testing. What is sanity testing? So sanity testing is a kind of software testing performed after receiving a software build with minor changes in code or functionality to ascertain that the bugs have been fixed and no further issue are introduced due to these changes. So why we do only sanity testing? When sanity testing is a type of testing after receiving build. When you first, let's say for the first release, we got our build on our hand and we have to validate. So we have to validate according to test that minor change, just a little bit change in the code. They didn't touch any whole program like thousand of line code or thousand of line of code. They touch only one of the features. So minor change, just a little bit change. Then we have to do sanity testing or functional testing to assert that the bugs have been fixed. So only to validate like, okay, this is a special bug, they already fixed it, so I don't need to do whole regression test or functional test, only the specific, the area that was I have to test, it calls sanity testing. So again, the goal is to determine that proposed function work roughly as expected. So our main goal is to that functionality should work as expected. So if sanity test fails, the build is rejected. So next thing is that if the build is failed, then if the sanity test is failed, then the build we have to reject, and because we don't want to waste our time, because QA time is really sensitive. So this is all about sanity testing. So I'm going now, this is functional testing, one of the popular interview questions. What is functional testing? So commonly I'm reading for this. Functional testing is a type of software testing that validates a software system against functional requirements. So when I'm going to test every single function against the functional requirements, let's say for the first functional requirement, which is user should have own dashboard and user should have its own profile picture. So this is one of the function of the application. So I'm testing against the these functional requirements. So if it's working as expected against the functional requirements, then we are good to go. It calls functional testing. So again, to test every single function of the applications against the functional requirements, it's called functional testing. The purpose of functional testing is to test each function of the software applications by providing appropriate input and verify the output against the functional requirements. So again, guys, so when we should do functional testing, let's say in our team developer, they already developed whole their build and they gave to us, and we already validate by we already have test cases. Now we don't need to test every single test cases. Now what we do, we don't have time because we are following agile environment, which is like 2 weeks. We don't have time, so what we do, we'll do only the main function of the applications. So that's how we can save the time, and we get the exact output, exact expected result by testing function every single function of the applications. That's it. That's where we need to do perform. We need to perform the functional testing in the real environment, and then I'm going to go. We already discussed functional testing, and now I'm going to go that white box testing. So, what is white box testing? White box testing is a type of testing technique which is software's internal structure. Then, inside the structure of the applications or software, which is design and coding, are tested by verifying when you put input, and we should get the output, the flow we have to validate. Like to improve, our main goal is to improve design, usability, and security. So most three things to improve. That's our main goal to test the white box testing. So again, in white box testing, code is visible testers. So what is the code? Uh, the white box testing is called, the code is visible for the testers. When it is visible for the testers, that what we are going to validate, what would be the output, what is the input, that like design or usability, it goes white box testings. So we can also call white box testing also clear box testing, open box testing, transparent box testing, which test then code based testing, and then glass box testing. So code based testing, white box is a code based testing, that we know what is going on inside the code, what will be the requirements, what will be the design, what will be the usability. To improve that, we call white box testing. So when we need that, when you need white box testings in the real environment, white box testing in the real environment, when you need, I would say that. When very fast build, although in the end time, when we execute the code build, and that time around this time we need to perform white box testings. So the last one, I'm talking about black box testing. What is black box testing? So black box testing, also another name is behavior testing. So black box testing is a software testing method in which of the functionality of the software application are tested without having knowledge of internal code. So again, white box is we have knowledge what is going on inside the code. It calls white box, and black box testing, we don't know what is the inside of the software. We don't know the comments. We don't know. So without knowing anything, we are just performing randomly. It calls white box testings. So implemented details like without knowing knowledge of internal code structure or implementation details, what is going there, the requirements, we don't know anything. So those kinds of without knowing this, it calls black box testings. So that's all about. So we do have a more couple of more important manual testing questions like monkey testing, all that. So most of the times we usually get this seven testing things always we usually get during the interview. So if you like this video, again, please subscribe and share. And thank you again for watching.